Hey there, welcome to the next step in our journey of coming back from fear. As I've mentioned in previous podcasts, we will start with some deep breathing to help bring us out of our fight and flight mode. That will allow our minds to be more open to reflection. So before we start our dive into the emotion of boredom, let's take a moment to breathe in deeply through the nose for a few seconds. Hold our breath for a few seconds, and then exhale out through the mouth for a few seconds. Repeat that as many times as you need to until you feel your heart come back to a calm. If this is the first podcast you're listening to, where we're at in our path is stepping through a situation where an uncomfortable or stressful emotion was ignited. And then we're going to see how we can use some of our superpowers to change our perspective of the event. Once I have described the situation where the emotion was born, I will break down each of the superpowers and how they can be applied. So boredom. Boredom is really an interesting emotion. At first, it may seem like an uneventful event in our lives, but there's a bit of activity that is going on under the surface. When someone tells me they're bored, my first response is usually telling them that I haven't been bored since I was 16. That is when I told my mom I was bored and she made me clean the garage. After that, I always found something to do or never mentioned it to anyone. Two of the places where I have most experienced boredom is in my work life and in my love life. I'm sure I'm not alone in that, for sure. In my situations where I felt this way, it usually came after I had invested so much energy into my job or into my relationship or in my attempts to find someone to get into a relationship with. And I got to that point just where I felt spent, exhausted, and maybe even a little lost. It can almost feel like there was so much activity going on in my brain that it fried the circuits a bit. All those thoughts of the should-bes, flood our brain, telling us that we're supposed to be in a secure job, making as much money as we can so we can buy all the stuff we are supposed to, so that we can attract a lifelong mate who will fulfill our long list of who we are supposed to be. It feels like we have to keep a dozen china plates rotating on those long sticks, to keep everything from crashing down around us. But after hours and days and months and years of trying to do this, we finally can't do it anymore. We begin to lose interest. And maybe we begin to lose interest in everything. Kind of mentally dump everything off that big table we had all those expectations stacked on. Nothing seems worth it. Why even try? We can feel like our lives have become a waste. What do we have to show for it all? All these uncomfortable emotions always come down to our own self-worth. So sitting in those emotions, let's activate our superpowers. Wonder Trend powers, activate, if you remember that. So we'll start with my preferred first choice of superpowers, which is the power to laugh. And I usually start here personally because it ignites so much positive, loving energy inside me. In the beginning, I couldn't just burst out laughing. It took enough energy for me just to have a gleam of joy in my eye. And then eventually I would be able to work it into a smirk, and then a smile, then a huge smile, then a chuckle, then a laugh, and then sometimes even to a belly laugh. Just going through that process sometimes made me laugh at myself because it seemed so silly. Until the hope and peace and joy flooded in. The ability to laugh at any situation that comes our way is so powerful. To be able to stop in our tracks of whatever uncomfortable emotions is flooding through our bodies and choose to stop feeding the dark wolf and intentionally feed the white wolf. It's such an amazing feeling. I put up reminders around me so that I come across them throughout my day. One of my favorite posts, little Post-it notes I put up, has a little saying written on it, and it says, "Have fun!" ! Why are you taking yourself so seriously? Laugh! Seeing that just makes me smile. And yes, it also makes me laugh, at least on the inside. And that changes my view of my world in an instant. The power of thank you can shake up our world. Boredom is related to feeling lack in our lives. We feel the absence of something that brings passion or excitement into our moments. In that quiet, dull moment, start looking around you. What catches your attention? Be thankful for that one thing. Then keep looking. What catches your eye next? Be thankful for that. Voice thankfulness for that. Say it out loud. Thank you. Thank you to the Creator. Thank you to the universe, the goddess, whatever your higher power is. And if you don't believe in a higher power, then thank yourself or whoever provided that for you. Because this changes our entire perspective from shadows into the sun. Switching on the power of now can bring us out of the future where our fear ego fools us into believing our fulfillment exists. And it brings us out of our past where our fear ego shows us how disappointing everything has been. All of our dreams of the future project perfect circumstances where everything on our long list of supposed tos are met, and then we can finally be happy and content in that moment. We have a mindset that at that time, then we can be there in that moment, but not until then. With the power of now, we can have our dream right here, right now, without all the conditions attached to it. We can be here now and enjoy what life is. It is within our power of choice to be full of life right here, right now, simply by choosing to let all our expectations go. We can let go of the future, let go of the past, and embrace this moment for all that it is. The power of no helps us release all those attachments to the future and the past. As we look at the future and feel overwhelmed and worn out, trying to meet all those things we think need to happen before we are happy, we can say, no, 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 no. I do not have to accept these as my conditions. I get to choose what I want in my life and for my life. As we look into the past and reflect on situations, we can say no, 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 no to those judgments we have placed on those circumstances and reject the ideas we previously accepted about our worth because of them. we can change our thinking around what had happened and move them from, one folder in our head to another folder. We can move them from the failure folder or the not worthy folder and place them in the life experience or just is folder instead. Then when we're feeling calmer and empowered, we can reflect to the roots with the power to question. Boredom comes down to our worth. Maybe we are sitting inactive, not out of peace and contentment, but out of fear. The fear to take chances because we fear to fail. Perhaps we feel trapped by the should-bes and shouldn'ts. Who would we let down if we chose a different career, a different lifestyle, a different location to live, different hobbies, or different friends? Really, most people are concerned with themselves. Just try talking about yourself, and the conversations usually switch back to the other person's stories and lives. Our fear egos are trying to compare and contrast to see if they are right or wrong, and that is usually the main reason that they want to know how you're doing. That fear ego the other person has, how are you? Not because they really care so much about judging your life as they care about judging their life against yours to see how they're doing. Boredom, that comes after we have been hit with a lot of disappointments in the external things. It is a perfect time to reflect inward, to wake up just a little more from this huge dream. It's an excellent opportunity to question what we truly want out of our lives and question why we feel that is so important. If you are bored in your job, your relationships, or your studies, this could be a sign that you are just trying to fulfill a should-be instead of a dream. So much is revealed when we begin to question our motivation about things. Get to the root. You will love what you find. Next episode, we will wander through the emotion of cruelty. Until then, think about a time when you were bored or a situation you felt was boring. What would you had rather been doing? Who would you rather be hanging around? Imagine yourself being in that new situation or with that new person. And just let that simmer in your mind's eye. Are you truly happy even then? What would it take for you to be happy? Question the whys around that. It's just so juicy. So enjoy the process. And remember, you never have to do anything you don't want to do.